Andy, I want to turn to Kash Patel. He's the nominee for the FBI director, raising eyebrows on Capitol Hill. He does have supporters there, though. And I wonder if this, if anything, about how the DOJ, the FBI has acted, changes the dynamic for his nomination.
Well, certainly I think there's a consensus that the FBI needs reform. The question is going to be, of course, is Kash Patel is he the right reformer? And there's going to be very deeply divided opinion about that. I think presumptively, if somebody does not have disqualifying activity in their background, like some of the tougher confirmations that we've seen, then the president's pretty much entitled to who he wants to wield his own power. But he doesn't have a lot of margin for error. He can lose 3 Republicans. I expect all the Democrats will unite in opposing, and it's going to be a very interesting confirmation hearing.
Yeah, you know, Trey, you were very vocal about Matt Gaetz as AG nominee. Where are you on Kash Patel?
As much as I did not like Matt Gaetz, that's how much I do like Kash Patel. I worked side by side with him for 2 years. If you wanted to know who funded the Steele Dossier, you should thank Kash Patel. If you want to know about the FISA abuse, you should thank Kash Patel. And he did it with an incredible headwind, Brett. He did it with Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell fighting him every single day. So I get that the left and the media don't like Kash Patel, but they also didn't lift a finger to expose this hoax called Russia collusion. Kash did. Kash will be a lot more fair to his critics than they were to him.
So this is part of the reason why what we call the deep state does not want Kash Patel, because he was one of the driving forces to expose this hoax. And say, I am really angry and frustrated, because this can't be overstated that your government, your FBI, and in some part the CIA did actively try to unseat a duly elected president of the United States. That's what they were doing. I don't think there's enough jail time to go around. I just understand what they were doing. All this blustering about, we have to save democracy from Donald Trump. It's like they were the ones usurping democracy, because when the people made their choice, they went nuts. Now, here's what you got to know. Everyone knows this is the case. No, this is not news. Now, I have to bring this up because this gets lost. Listen to this.
News is confirmed reporting by the Washington Post that the Clinton campaign and the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, helped fund that research that ultimately produced the now infamous dossier on Donald Trump. According to a source familiar with the situation, the law firm Perkins Coie, which represented the Clinton campaign and the DNC, retained Fusion GPS in April of 2016 to conduct opposition research. Fusion then hired former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele to further the work that Fusion had already begun on behalf of a previous unknown Republican client to dig up stuff on Trump. Steele went on to produce a collection of raw intelligence reports that allege, among other things, that the president and his associates engaged in a well-developed conspiracy of cooperation with Russia during the 2016 election. The New York Times further reports that the Democratic attorney who retained Fusion GPS, Mark Elias, was not forthcoming about his involvement. Quote, early this year, Mr. Elias had denied he had possessed the dossier before the election. Maggie Haberman of the New York Times went further, saying folks involved in funding this lied about it, and with sanctimony, for a year. President Trump seized on the news today to assert that Steele's findings in the dossier were made up.
I think it's very sad what they've done with this fake dossier. It was made up, and I understand they paid a tremendous amount of money, and Hillary Clinton always denied it. The Democrats always denied it. And now only because it's going to come out in a court case, they said, yes, they did it, they admitted it, and they're embarrassed by it.
So I need to remind you guys, the only reason they came out, it was to get ahead of a news story that during a court proceeding, it was all going to be laid bare that the so-called dossier was paid and funded by Hillary Clinton and the DNC, all in an attempt to unseat a duly elected president, and no one asks her any questions about it now. No one asks her anything. Like, what the hell, woman?
I'm joined right now by Democratic Congresswoman Jackie Speier, who sits on the House Intelligence Committee, and by Glenn Thrush, White House correspondent with the New York Times and an MSNBC political analyst. You're both here. So let me go to the Congresswoman. I was, I guess, vaguely informed. People tell me that the Democrats, somebody had something to do with funding this dossier. The whole intel, the Oppo research that came up with all this on Trump, some of it raw, some of it useful, some of it not.
None of it was useful. If it had been useful, Robert Mueller would have found it.
Did you know the Democrats were behind paying for the dossier?
No, I didn't know that. In fact, we were first made aware.
Should they have told you? Should the Democrats have come clean on this months ago?
Well, you know, truly, Chris, it's op research. It's what any campaign engages in.
No, but should they have come clean during this massive investigation with all the focus on the Russian connection of Donald Trump? Why wouldn't the Democrats come out and say, OK, we paid for it, instead of letting it leak out now when it now brings into question the whole effort? Why weren't they clean? Why did they hide this? Why did Hillary Clinton hide this?
Well, I don't know that Hillary Clinton hid it, or was it just her attorney who was thinking of it in terms of well, maybe she thought of it, or her attorney thought of it as a attorney-client privilege.
No, the result, the product. You mean, oh, it was a privilege to keep secret the Democrats paid for Oppo on their opposition opponent, for their opponent in the campaign. They want to keep that secret. Even after this investigation began, they sat on it. I don't think it's in her book.
It's not in her book. She didn't talk about it in her book. And what that Congresswoman wants you to believe is that maybe they thought that it was, some sort of attorney-client privilege. Opposition research is well known. Why would that be, just attorney-client privilege? That made no sense at all. But even at that point, now, that was MSNBC. Now, everyone knows, up to and including Rachel Maddow, they all now know it's fake. The president just said it was fake. They said that they paid a tremendous amount of money for it. They were actively using this fake document to unseat a duly elected president. No one went to jail for it. Just let that sink in. Imagine you were trying to unseat you literally were doing some sort of finagling shenanigans, trying to get rid of Joe Biden. And you had a friend at the FBI, and the two of you were coordinating with one another on how we can make this lie about him big and hit the newspapers, because we want him to be not only impeached, we want him removed from office. What do you think would happen to you? Now, during all of this time, Michael Horowitz, Inspector General, he was put in charge of getting to the bottom of this ridiculous dossier. This is what he had to say.
For example, the Crossfire Hurricane team obtained information from Steele's primary subsource.
What was it called? The Crossfire Hurricane. That was a group of attorneys and FBI agents that were meticulously pushing this through. This when you got Lisa Page and Peter Strzok and Andrew McCabe, and they were all pushing it. James Comey included. I'm trying to show you guys why they don't want Kash Patel to head the FBI.
In January 2017, that raised significant questions about the reliability of the Steele reporting. This was particularly noteworthy because the FISA applications relied entirely on information from the primary subsources reporting to support the allegation that Page was coordinating with the Russian government on 2016 U.S. presidential election activities. However, the FBI did not share this information with department lawyers, and it was therefore omitted from the last two renewal applications.
So the FBI omitted it from their reporting so that no one knew that this was completely fiction. Where are those officers? Where are those agents? Were they ever reprimanded? Are they still with the force? Do they still work there? See, this is the kind of stuff that just drives me bananas because there's no justice done. But you heard Trey Gowdy. Kash Patel he and Devin Nunes were pushing. I mean, pushing with every single Joe Scarborough and Rachel Maddow. I mean, night after night after night after night. It was nonstop. He colluded with Russians. People got Pulitzer Prizes for writing about it. And it all was a hoax who had its genesis from Hillary Clinton. And she is not paid 1 ounce for justice for it. I'm pointing this out so that you now know. Okay, if you missed it, just go through the video again. Now you know why the deep state, why people from the FBI, people from MSNBC and CNN, they were the people that were pushing the hoax. And they don't want Kash Patel scratching that itch. And my guess is, man, oh man, does it sticks in his craw. All right, that's it for now. If you like this video, smash that like button and subscribe. And if you're following me on Rumble, please press that follow button. And until the next time, God bless.